Well, hello, this is Lance. Today we're having a look at this. This is the Razer Kishi Ultra. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, but sounds okay. One thing I do like about this is I basically carry it around with me, and I have the little iPad mini, not even the latest generation. I think it's the previous one, which is not that big a deal, but you know, Apple does take 10 or 20 years or whatever it is, 100 years to bring out new variants of the iPad mini. The ergonomics of this thing is, well, they're pretty good. It's basically the feel of a full-size controller. If you've ever used any of the Razer controllers, it's basically exactly that. It's got a couple of little function buttons on the top here. It obviously has a fair bit of support with either the iPad mini or any Android device. I think it can handle up to about 7 inches. I always thought about getting one of these for traveling, specifically because, you know, you're lying in a hotel, you just want to waste a few hours, you can play a few games on your tablet or your phone or whatever the case is, and have a decent experience using a controller. But this one I went for specifically because the form factor. Basically, I can plug into an iPad, and I like the slightly bigger screen, you know, old man eyes, so bigger screen's always good. And it's actually very nice. If you can see on the overhead there, it's a really nice size screen. Luckily there are, you know, quite a few decent games that you can play on this type of thing. Or if you really want to, you can just lie on your couch and use Steam Link from your game PC, whatever the case is. A lot of the streaming services work very well on this type of thing. In particular, I've tested the NVIDIA streaming service on this. Seems to work pretty well as long as you've got obviously strong Wi-Fi and decent internet speeds. The port situation is pretty good. You can see there's a little 3.5mm for your audio, and on the other side you've got a little USB-C throughput for charging. For charging only. I tried to connect in an external pair of these AR glasses to see if I could play it directly from the iPad through their port 2. You can't. Even if you do have an adapter, it doesn't work. So it's just there for power supply. You can play all your local variants of your games and that, and you do get some really good games on iOS particularly, and on Android these days, although I'm not sure that there is a 7-inch variant of an Android tablet that you can still buy today, but the size is perfect, especially if you're traveling or if you're just lying on the couch and you want to play some games while goofing off, then you can do that. The only downside that I can see is more with the iPad mini is that it's only 60 Hertz. They still have not upgraded the refresh rate to anything significant for the iPad mini. So if you go into the Razer app, you can see I've actually got it there. You can go into that, or you can use it to launch all your, you know, your local games. The reason that I bring up the refresh rate on this little device is, at the moment what I do is when I travel, I take the little iPad mini and this controller, and then I use it for just, you know, some casual gameplay when I'm on the plane or in the hotel room at night or whatever the case is. But I always gravitate back to my 11-inch iPad Pro because of the high refresh rate, better colors, etc., which is great. But obviously this doesn't work with it. The reason I bring that up is because Razer has now just brought out their V3 variants of these, and they now come in 3 flavors. So I'm thinking of maybe getting the top flavor. The reason being is that the Razer Kishi V3 Pro XL, the V3 Pro XL can now support 10-inch and higher, right up to 13-inch iPads, Android tablets, etc., which is great. Obviously, if you're taking a 13-inch, you better have the upper body strength to hold that for a few hours gaming sessions, unless you're doing like 10 minutes at a time. Just the V3 Pro variant is basically what this one is. So it can take anything up to an iPad mini in size-wise. And then you've also got the Razer Kishi V3, which is basically just for phones. Either Android and iOS, as long as they support USB-C, then you're good to go. So you now have the 3 variants, this one being obviously the middle variant, but the older technology or whatever you want to call it, although you can still buy this version today. And their other version is, it's not cheap. Just having a look at the price, I'll put it up on screen for you. But in Europe, it's 229, call it 230 euros. That's a lot of money for a controller. A hell of a lot of money for a controller. You can get some really serious controllers for that type of money. I moan about things being called Pro, which clearly aren't Pro. Did you know, and this is amazing to me, just a little side note, Jay, did you know you can buy little finger sleeves from Razer for your mobile device so that you can sit there? Have a look at this. This is, I have no words. But it's only 12 euro, but maybe for long sessions, if you've got particularly sweaty fingers, maybe it helps. Something similar to maybe a drawing glove. But you can get them, and that is interesting. Let's go with interesting. The lowdown of this device is it actually does everything that it says it does. It's not cheap. I don't know why Razer insists on boosting the price of it. I mean, 230 euros is a lot of money for a game controller, even if it is probably the only one on the market that can support up to a 13-inch tablet. I hope you enjoyed this, a brief little chat/rant about these things. If you did, please like, subscribe, all those lovely things. I will put links down for all of these products, including the newer variants that I do not have yet, but probably will get anyway just to test. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye now.